we're going to solve for sine of 2 theta, cosine of 2 theta, and tangent of 2 theta. Given that cosine theta is negative 2/5 and theta is in quadrant number 3. So I'll draw a little sketch here just to keep in mind what's happening. So all we need is a general terminal ray in quadrant 3, and we'll put a point on it. And we know that cosine is associated with the x coordinate. So we know that x is negative 2. We don't know what the y coordinate is. And we'll choose the radial distance to be 5. The first thing we're going to need is sine of theta for this angle here. So we'll use the Pythagorean theorem. We know that x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. And this is going to allow us to solve for y and find sine of theta. So y squared will be 21. This tells us that y is plus or minus the square root of 21. But given that we're in quadrant 3, we know the y values are negative, so therefore we're choosing y to be negative square root 21. Now we're ready to roll over here. Sine of 2 theta, if we rewrite that in terms of single thetas, that will be 2 sine theta cosine theta. And we can just do some substitution. Sine of theta is going to be equal to negative root 21 over the radial distance. And then cosine of theta was given. If we multiply across the top, we end up with positive 4 root 21 over 25. So that is sine of 2 theta. Cosine of 2 theta, the standard representation is cosine squared of 1 theta minus sine squared of 1 theta. So we'll take the negative 2/5, we'll square it, and we'll subtract off sine of theta squared, and we found sine of theta to be negative root 21 over 5. We'll square that quantity. So we'll end up with 4/25 minus 21/25. And that will be negative 17/25. So that will be our cosine of 2 theta value. And now we want tangent of 2 theta. And it's possible to use an identity, but most of us would just use the fact that tangent is sine over cosine. I guess we are using an identity, but we're not using a double angle identity. We're using this standard representation of tangent as sine over cosine. So sine divided by cosine, sine of 2 theta, divided by cosine of 2 theta is the same as the multiplication by the reciprocal. And we have that the 25s are canceling, so we end up with 4 root 21 over 17 with a negative in front. So that will be tangent of 2 theta.